Hey guys, where are you from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
And what's your name?
John Perry.
It's nice to meet you, John. I'm Aaron.
Hi.
What's up? John Perry from Atlanta. All right. I grew up in a town 40 miles outside of New York City. In high school, I didn't enjoy physics as much as I enjoyed European history. And I think it's very important for us not to separate the humanities from STEM education. What would be the purpose of cell phones if we had nothing to communicate? What would be the purpose of cars if we didn't inherently want to expand our reach? With every technological initiative must come a philosophical purpose. When I first arrived at Georgia Tech, I began work at the Benthies-Inn Combustion Lab. My research here has given me an understanding of fuel behavior, combustor design, and both their effects on equipment life and max system limits before irreversibly damaging combustion dynamics occurs. But these are fundamental properties of an engine's reusability and sustainability, and which can in turn, change the way we power our homes or fly across continents. Again, embedded in something as technical as turbulent flame speed research is a philosophical purpose. When I first arrived at Georgia Tech, I also joined the Ramblin' Rocket Club. At my first meeting, a club officer brought in his high-power rocket. It lay there at the front of the room like a beacon. I didn't know how I could possibly build such a thing, but I decided I would. So I brought home a 7-foot-tall mail tube and told myself it would become a high-power rocket by the end of the semester. That year I built 2 high-power rockets, one that flew to 5,000 feet and the other to 3,000. For me, these quests served as my first steps towards just one day creating that rocket that penetrates our stratosphere. A year later, at an executive board meeting, our Vice President, Joseph Mattingly, brought up an idea as if it was nothing. To send a rocket to space. It only took him that one-sentence intro. In that moment, I knew, I wanted, and heck, I believed so bad that we would make it a reality. In that moment, I wanted it to happen because, like every technological initiative, each of us needs a philosophical purpose of our own. This is mine. I believe there's a compelling interest for humanity to reach beyond its boundaries, to harness space exploration's inspiring and potentially uniting power. I believe in low-cost, high-frequency rockets, and that rocket reusability is the only means to such. I believe in commercial spaceflight as the destined means of human exploration, and that human exploration is the only true source for inspiration. As a young adolescent, I chose to become an aerospace engineer not because it would give me an invaluable skill set, or because it was cool. I chose this path because when I stare up at the stars each night, I believe in an opportunity for humanity to collaborate, innovate, and to unite. It has always been in our human nature to explore further. The 1903 Louisiana Purchase opened up the American West. 90 years later, when Frederick Jackson's frontier thesis declared the frontier closed, we inherently looked forward to the next thing, the next frontier. And so it became misconceived that there was one last thing to come, the final frontier, space. Nothing could be further from the truth. What's worth noting here is that we can't really imagine the idea of infinity, but we can imagine that it's greater than 1. This is GRB 090423, the farthest celestial body we have ever viewed. It's 30 billion light years away. Light travels fast enough to encircle the Earth 7 times in 1 second. A light year is the amount of distance light traverses in 1 year, or 32 million seconds. This farthest thing is 30 billion light years away. And there's probably something 30 billion light years beyond that. But what if we lived on GRB 090423? Then the farthest thing we could conceivably view is Earth. This is the farthest picture ever taken of Earth. A comparatively near 60 million miles away, or 0.00001 light years away. If we lived on GRB 090423, Earth would be a speck of dust, 30 billion light years away. So is space the final frontier, or a conglomerate of infinite first frontiers? Is any frontier on Earth significant enough to be more than the zeroth frontier? If something is so small, is it existent at all? Thoughts of our tininess shouldn't discourage us. We should implore the power of the human mind, and with it, the ability to inquire about life and how we should find philosophical purposes in our own. See, in my town, every teenager goes to college, but most none of them dream. To them, their options are who has surrounded them. Doctors, stock analysts, lawyers. And there's nothing wrong with these professions. But to me, with so many fundamental questions unanswered, I had no other option but to pursue a different course. One that wouldn't necessarily guarantee me the biggest paycheck, but it would guarantee that I could change the world if I dreamed big enough. Just last month, the Rambling Rocket Club rolled out Project K-17, whose sole purpose is to breach the commonly accepted border of space, known as the Kármán line, 100 kilometers, or 328,000 feet above your heads. We won't carry any research payload. We certainly won't deploy anything into orbit. And our team of engineers won't receive paychecks or course credits. The chair of the School of Aerospace asked me, concerned, "What's your end game?" My answer? For Georgia Tech to become the first university to send a rocket to space. To inspire students everywhere of their expectation-crushing potential. To produce the 30 best engineers at Georgia Tech. To solve currently unseen and unanswered engineering challenges. To take one small step closer to the proliferation of space exploration. After all, that's my dream. To proliferate and innovate the exploration of space. Imagine if I had asked, I'm sorry, what's your name?
John.
Imagine if I had asked John Perry where he was from, and he had said not Atlanta, or Georgia, or Afghanistan, or even Asia. Imagine if he had answered, I'm from Earth. And what if I had responded, awesome, I'm from Mars, or Venus, or even Andromeda? That would be an inspiring world to live in. Surely it's hard to convince the public and politicians that space is important, when ISIS is on the brink of taking Kobani, or Ebola is killing thousands of children in West Africa. But to me, space exploration is compelling even when thinking of the problems unsolved in a rocket's wake. Imagine if the children of the world looked up at the sky and watched launch vehicles lift off into the cosmic abyss. They'd be inspired to be a part of that, and to contribute not only to the exploration of space, but to the technologies discovered along the way that could perhaps cure Ebola back home, or enhance the treatment of disease around the world. Imagine an extremist fighter who expands his mind without losing confidence in his beliefs, beyond the bounds of today, tomorrow, and the world on which he stands? What if he realizes there were not 196 countries or 270 large religious factions? We are one species on one planet. See, something doesn't need to be substantiated with hard tangibles to make it important. We shouldn't need short-term economic incentive to treat space or anything else founded in our very human nature as a priority. Christopher Columbus couldn't get sponsored for his maiden voyage because the profits weren't foreseeable. But the continent that you now sit in is the one he founded, with sprawling cities and economic marketplaces. It's those who invest in the intangibles, the philosophies, the dreams, that at least have a better understanding of why we are here. So no matter your philosophy or your dream, follow it without questioning the end game.